And welcome back to Sports Weekly on IEMG. Let's talk National Signing Day, where local high school athletes could sign scholarships and play at the next level, including some local football stars. That would include Jaquan Smith at Cajon High School. Kind of a homecoming to the University of South Florida, the Bulls. In fact, he chose the University of South Florida against some other really good schools. In fact, a lot of schools wanted Jaquan Smith, but he ended up choosing the Bulls over the Washington Huskies and the Utah Utes out of the Pac-12. So Jaquan Smith taking his talents to the University of South Florida, and people who know him, they call him Florida because he's originally from the state of Florida, and he says he's only about 45 minutes from where he grew up when he plays at the University of South Florida, where he will play football and run track. Here's our exclusive interview with Jaquan Smith. Join us here on the show as we kind of circle back to National Signing Day, one of the big signings, of course, in the Inland Empire, the pride of Cajon High School, Jaquan Smith signing with the University of South Florida Bulls. And Jaquan, you know, your nickname's Florida, so you're kind of going back home. It's like a homecoming for you. So if folks are saying, like, why South Florida? I mean, you had Utah, you had Washington amongst other teams. Why did you pick the University of South Florida?
Well, I'm going to start with Washington first. Honestly, after the first signing date, or just even a little bit before it, Washington kind of went a little silent on me. So at that point, I was like, okay, it wasn't even meant to be at that point, honestly. And like even before all of that even started, like that coach there had told me that the second signing day was mainly for like big guys, 5-star stuff like that. So, I would have to sign in December. So at that point, it could have been misinterpreted, but I felt like he was saying I really wasn't even worth going to that second signing day. So right then and there, immediately resulted to going to Utah. Then that was at that point, it was all Utah. Then just recently, USF came up. And at first, I'm like, okay, it's back in Florida, so I'm going to give him a shot. I'm not going to cut off any of my options. I kept my recruitment open for a reason, so I'm going to take advantage of it. So, coming to find out, their head coach used to be Tennessee's OC, number one offense and across the country. They just got a new wide receiver coach from Kent State. He had two guys that were one of the top wide receivers, slot receivers across the country as well. So all that really just grabbed my attention. And with Tennessee's offense, the way it's spread out, because the way Coach Alex Golesh was telling me how he used Jalen Hyatt to get all of his touchdowns and stuff like that, he really spread them out and forced fast guys to go up against, super jock linebackers that really wouldn't even stand a chance. And I just felt like that offense really had a perfect fit for me with all my speed, because Coach was telling me that I'm way faster than Hyatt. I just have to have that determination and love for the sport that he did if I really want to thrive as much as he did. So it wasn't really much of a hard choice after that. And on top of that, they gave me an opportunity to do both and track. Utah did the same, but they didn't have a track team though. So they said they had independent track if I wanted to do training and stuff like that. But I didn't have a problem with it, but at the same time, it's just not the same as having an already set up track team. So with that, it's just really kind of set my decision in stone.
That was my next question is, right now you're in track season with the Cajon High School Cowboys, of course. Did you want to pick a place like South Florida that would give you the opportunity to play football and still do track and field?
Absolutely. That was a mandatory thing, because it was funny. My dad was telling these coach, he was trying to get him hints on top of hints. If you want me that bad, give me the opportunity to do both track and football. Even if it is hard, at least give me the shot to do both.
Yeah. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong on any of these things, but I think the University of South Florida is in Tampa, right? Or close to
Yes,
Tampa?
sir.
Okay. So where are you originally from in Florida? Is it close to where you're from, or is it, give me, geographically speaking, is it close to where you're originally from?
Yeah, it's literally it's like one long, it's called a Skyway Bridge. So it's 45 minutes away from that. It's like one long bridge that basically just attaches all of that. So it's a little quick drive, not even far from where I was really from. So on top of that, I was talking to a player. He was saying that's why he originally chose to stay in Florida, because, sometimes the football stuff is a little overwhelming. So he would just drive back home and go spend time with his family whenever he chose to do so. So and when I really realized that I could do the same thing, it was like that even just helped me really pick my decision on that. So
was that exciting to you to be able to, even if you weren't planning it, like, oh my gosh, I have a chance to go back to Florida, maybe be around some people, some family and friends that I grew up with, and then I know that's, there's a sense of just being comfortable with that, right?
Absolutely. Just feel like it's a natural fit, honestly.
All right, so you get there and, you're excited about what they can do offensively and hoping to get the ball in your hands and make plays. Did they say where they like you? I mean, this year at Cajon, I see you as a receiver, but you played running back, you returned kicks, like you did a lot of everything. But at the University of South Florida, do they like you as a slot receiver, or where do they see you lining up at?
Yeah, they specifically want me as slot and their returner guy.
Is that exciting for you? Because this is a team that, like you said, could be explosive. They could put a lot of points on the board. You could, get your name out there on the national stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Because honestly, don't get me wrong. I did my job at running back, but I grew out of that. Because I grew up, when I grew up, I was originally a running back mainly because I couldn't even catch the football. But once I came out here, I kind of, hands got bigger. I worked a lot more on eye-hand coordination. So I ended up switching the slot. But, I got put back to running back and was rotating. But they specifically want me at slot, and I really love them for that. Because, boy, they know I am tired of running the ball. Don't get me wrong. They throw me back down. I'm going to tote that rock now. Don't get it confused. I'm going to do the job.
No, I saw you do the job this year at Cajon. I know you could do it. And speaking of Cajon, last question for you, Jaquan, is that you're in track and field season right now. And I know, actually, you just bailed out of practice right now to do this interview, and I do appreciate that. But what's your goals this spring for the Cowboys in terms of maybe team goals, individual goals in your last season with them?
I got to make it to state. That is the main goal I have to do, because last year I made it, but some things came up with my other two teammates to where they had ended up going to their grad night instead. So even with our alternates, our guys would still have to be there because we can't just switch out. I'm not sure. I think it's, what is it called? I think it's called honors efforts rule. So it's something about you're not allowed to switch out last minute. Some really confusing. I never even heard of it, but it ended up making us get disqualified. We couldn't even compete in a 4x4 as well. So we kind of made a blank trip. So I'm really trying to go up there and make a trip that's worth my time now. So I'm trying to do it to all my individuals, and I'm going back to long jump this year because I switched it out for relays because we had a lot of guys, but we lost a lot of our talent sadly. So I'm gonna focus more so on individuals this year.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. I think you'll do good in those, the field events as well. We know we can, tear it up on the track, of course, but see you in the field events too, doing the long jump. That'd be awesome. Well, Jaquan, listen, I know you got to go back to track practice. I just wanted to say congratulations, man. It was a lot of fun covering you the last couple seasons, especially on the football team, of course, track and field as well. And best of luck at the University of South Florida, man. Congratulations to you and your family on the scholarship.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. That is Jaquan Smith, the pride of Cajon High School, here on the show. And on next week's show, we will hear from Aquinas quarterback Dre Robles, who is signed with the University of Redlands. We'll get to see him for a bunch of more seasons out there playing for the Bulldogs. That'll be on next week's episode of Sports Weekly. But for today, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. Make sure you subscribe to the IE Media Group YouTube channel, and we will see you next time.